Jared was finishing his work for the day when the sky above the quiet farmland began to glow. The sun had already set and the fields were dark, but a strange white light moved across the clouds like a slow, silent flame. He stopped near the fence, squinting at the sky. It was not a shooting star. It was too controlled, too steady, and far too bright. A moment later, the light dipped lower, rushed toward the ground, and vanished behind the old wheat field with a soft thud that carried across the night. The ground shook lightly under Jared's boots. He stood still for a moment, wondering if he should pretend he saw nothing. But curiosity pushed him forward. He grabbed his lantern and walked to the tall crops. The air felt strange, almost warm, as if something powerful had entered the land. When Jared reached the center of the field, he saw smoke drifting upward in thin gray lines. There, half buried in broken stalks, was a small craft unlike anything he'd ever seen. It was shaped like a sleek bike, but its body was metallic, smooth, and glowing with soft blue lines. Sparks flickered around its broken engine. Beside it stood someone or something. She was tall, slim, and pale as moonlight. Her eyes glowed softly, like reflected starlight. Her hair was silver and smooth, falling almost to her waist. Jared felt his breath catch, not out of fear, but out of shock. She looked like she had stepped out of one of the old stories his grandmother used to tell. The mysterious visitor turned toward him. For a moment, she seemed ready to run or hide. But when she saw that Jared carried no weapon, her shoulders relaxed slightly. "I mean no harm," she said in a calm, soft voice. Her words were accented, unfamiliar, yet clear. I figured," Jared replied, trying not to stare. "Are you hurt?" "No," she said, "only tired, and my transport is damaged." She placed a hand on the glowing bike. The landing was not planned. Jareth looked at the smoking machine. "I can see that," he said quietly. Then he looked back at her. "What are you?" The woman held his gaze. "My name is Viola," she said. "I come from a star cluster far from this world. My people live in places with little light. We see well in the dark. We sense energy. We travel by night because it feels like home." Her explanation made Jared think of old tales of watchers in the shadows, but she did not seem dangerous. She looked tired and a little worried, like someone lost far from home. "Why here?" he asked. "My vehicle malfunctioned," she answered. "I needed to land before I lost control. I did not expect a place so quiet, or someone to find me so quickly." Jared gave a small nod. "Well, this is my farm. Things don't stay hidden long out here." Viola studied him for a moment. She seemed surprised by how calm he was. Most beings she met on different worlds often feared her appearance, but Jareth only seemed curious. "Your machine is in bad shape," he said. "Maybe I can help." Viola blinked slowly. "You?" she asked. "You're a farmer?" "Yes." Jareth shrugged. "But I fix machines all the time. Farm tools, engines, tractors. Metal is metal, and broken machines don't fix themselves." Her lips curved slightly in the faintest smile. "Your confidence is interesting." Jared stepped closer to the bike and crouched beside it. The blue lines pulsed weakly. The engine casing was dented, and one side was cracked open. He touched the metal carefully and felt a soft vibration run through his fingers. "This is not from any factory, I know," he muttered. "But I think I can keep it from getting worse." Viola watched him. Her eyes glowed a little brighter in the dark. "Why help me?" she asked quietly. "You do not know who I am." Jared stood up again and wiped dust from his hands. "You're stranded," he said simply. "Anyone stranded deserves help." She looked down, almost surprised by his simple answer. Where she came from, help was rarely given without reason. The night breeze rustled the wheat around them. The stars shone bright overhead. For a moment, they both stood there in silence, the strange glowing craft between them like a quiet secret. Finally, Viola spoke again. "If you can offer shelter for a short time, I would be grateful. My energy is low, and I must repair this machine." Jareth pointed toward his barn. "It's old, but solid. You can rest there, and I can look at this thing properly." Viola nodded. "Then I will trust you." She touched a small panel on the bike, and the machine lifted itself slightly from the ground. Jareth stared, amazed. She guided it slowly toward the barn, floating gently like a metal feather. As he walked beside her, Jareth felt something he could not explain. The night felt different, alive, like the world had suddenly grown larger. He had no idea what kind of mission Viola was on. He had no idea if more visitors were coming. But he knew one thing clearly. Life on his quiet farm had just changed forever. Jareth led Viola toward the barn, walking slowly so she could follow without trouble. The night was cool, and the grass brushed softly against their legs. Viola guided her floating bike with one hand, but Jareth could see her movements getting weaker. Her steps were slow, like she was holding herself together with the last bit of strength she had. When they reached the barn, Jareth pushed a large wooden door open. Inside, the air smelled of hay and old tools. Lantern light filled the space with a warm glow. It was simple, a little messy, and very human. Viola looked around as if trying to understand a place so different from anything she knew. "You can rest here," Jareth said. "It's quiet. No one comes by at night." Viola nodded softly and lowered the bike to the ground. The blue lines on its body flickered weakly. She placed her hand on it, and the light steadied a little, but her shoulders slumped afterward. Jareth frowned. "You look exhausted," he said. "Do you need food? Water?" She looked at him for a moment before answering. "Water, yes. Food. I do not eat in the way you do." Jareth did not understand, but he accepted her words. He walked out and returned a moment later with a metal cup filled from his well. Viola took it carefully. Instead of drinking it, she placed her hand over the water, and the liquid glowed faintly. A second later, her eyes brightened a little, and she let out a quiet breath. Jareth raised an eyebrow. "That's new." "It gives me strength," she said softly. "Water holds energy. My people know how to absorb it." He nodded slowly. "Well, good thing we're plenty." Viola set the cup down and sat on a small wooden crate. She looked tired but calmer. Her silver hair fell over her shoulders like flowing light. Jareth walked to his workbench and grabbed a rag, wiping his hands as he thought about what to do next. He was still trying to understand who she was and what she wanted, but she seemed peaceful, quiet, and lost. And she had trusted him. "You're really far from home, aren't you?" he asked. Viola looked down at her hands. "Yes, my mission brought me across many star paths. I have traveled alone for a long time." "Must be tough," he said. She nodded slowly. "I am used to it, but your world feels different. Quiet, soft. My home is always dark and cold." Jareth smiled faintly. "Well, you picked a good planet to crash on. We have warm nights, friendly barns, and farmers who don't mind helping strange visitors." Viola almost smiled back, though it was very small. She studied him with curious eyes. "You are not afraid of me," she said. "Should I be?" "No," she said, "but many would be." Jareth shrugged. "Fear wastes time. And you don't look like someone here to burn my farm." Viola tilted her head. "You have a simple way of thinking." "Simple is good," he said. "Life's already complicated enough." For a moment, the barn was quiet again. Jareth grabbed a stool and sat across from her. "Tell me about your bike," he said. "If I'm going to fix it, I need to know what it does." Viola touched the machine gently. "It is more than transport. It protects me. It carries my energy source. It keeps me alive during long travels." Jareth leaned forward. "Does that mean you're in danger?" She hesitated before answering. "Not yet, but if I cannot repair it before sunrise, I may become weak." That made him stand up at once. "Then we better start." Viola blinked. "You wish to help now?" "Of course. If time matters, then we won't waste any." She watched him grab tools and kneel beside the machine. He studied its surface. The cracks, the glowing lines, the strange metal. His eyes were sharp, focused, curious. He touched the metal carefully, listening to its faint hum. "You don't fear what you don't understand," Viola said softly. "I respect it," he corrected. "But fear? No, fear stops people from learning." She looked at him for a long moment, as if trying to understand how a simple farmer could think that way. Jareth fixed a light above the bike and began to examine the damaged engine. "This metal is strong," he said, "but the inside, looks sensitive, like it's alive. It reacts to energy, Viola explained. It listens to me. Well, Jareth said, let's see if it listens to humans too. Viola's eyes softened. She watched him work, his hands steady, his mind calm. He didn't panic, didn't question her mission, didn't ask for anything in return. He simply helped because someone needed it. Her people rarely showed kindness. They rarely received any either. But this human farmer had offered shelter, water, safety, and now his time. As the night grew deeper and the stars turned slowly above the barn roof, Viola realized something strange. For the first time in a very long time, she did not feel alone, and she began to wonder if fate had brought her here not by accident, but by design. Jareth worked through most of the night, checking wires, cleaning strange crystal parts, and trying to understand how the alien machine held itself together. Viola watched him closely, her eyes softer now, her posture a little less tense. Each time he fixed something, the blue lights on the bike grew brighter, but they were still dim, like a heartbeat that had not yet found full strength. After a while, Jareth stood up to stretch his back. This thing is complicated. I've never seen tech like this. Viola nodded. It was not made for humans to understand. My people guard their secrets. Jareth picked up a glowing piece of broken crystal. Well, secrets don't fix themselves. Viola hesitated. She seemed to be thinking hard about something. Finally, she spoke. Jareth, there is something you must know. He looked at her, wiping sweat from his forehead. All right, what is it? Viola took a slow breath. She looked nervous, almost scared. I was not just traveling. I was sent here, on a mission. Jareth's eyebrows lifted. A mission? For what? She lowered her voice. To find someone. A person? On Earth. Viola nodded. Yes, a person who has something my people want. Something powerful. Jareth leaned back against the workbench. And who is it you're looking for? Viola looked straight into his eyes. You. For a moment. The barn felt colder, as if the night air had slipped inside. Jareth stared at her, confused and surprised. Me, he repeated. You came all the way from wherever you're from for me? Yes, she said softly, but not for a bad reason. He crossed his arms. I'm listening. Viola folded her hands in her lap. Her voice was calm, but Jareth could hear the weight behind it. My people are old, very old. We were once connected to a great source of power, a star heart. But long ago, that power weakened. Many of us fell into hunger and darkness. Hunger? Jareth asked. She nodded slowly. Not for food, for energy. My people survive on pure life force. But the star heart we depended on is dying. And what does that have to do with me? Viola lifted her hand. A faint glow formed above her palm. Small, warm, gentle. Humans produce energy unlike any species we have recorded. You generate it from emotion, hope, kindness, courage, even simple joy. Jareth blinked. We make power just by being ourselves. Yes, you do not see it, but we do. She looked down. At first, the council wanted to take it from humans by force, to harvest it, to feed our dying star heart. Jareth's jaw tightened. So your people plan to steal from us? Yes, she whispered. But someone stopped them. My mother. She said there must be a better way, a peaceful way. Jareth's anger eased a little. Your mother sounds smart. She was, Viola said softly, before she died. That made Jareth fall quiet. Viola continued, her voice barely above a whisper. Her last wish was that we seek humans who show strong, natural energy. People who carry hope even in simple lives. People who do good without reward. Her eyes met his again. People like you. Jareth looked away, embarrassed. I'm not anything special. You are, she said. You helped me without fear. You welcomed me without knowing who I was. You fixed my bite without asking what it was worth. My people would call that rare. Precious. He rubbed his neck awkwardly. I was just doing what anyone should do. Viola shook her head. No, many would have run. Many would have locked the door. But you opened yours. Jareth exhaled slowly. So, your mission is to bring me to your people? No, she said quickly. That was the mission the council gave me. But my mother gave me another mission. He looked up. A different one? Viola nodded. She told me to find someone who could help us rebuild the Star Heart. Not by taking human energy, but by learning from it, understanding it, sharing it, a bridge between our worlds. Jareth frowned. A bridge? That sounds like a big responsibility. Yes, she said, but humans have surprised the galaxy many times. You survive storms, wars, disasters, and still find ways to smile. You build things with broken parts. You grow hope from empty soil. Her gaze softened. My people do not know how to do that anymore. Jareth let out a long breath. The truth was heavy, strange, and bigger than anything he'd expected when he opened his barn door that night. So, he said slowly, you came to ask for help. Yes, she whispered. I came to ask you to save my people. Jareth looked at her, really looked. She wasn't just an alien with a broken bike. She wasn't a threat. She was someone trying to protect her dying world. Someone who carried fear, duty, and maybe hope. He rubbed his hands together, thinking hard. Then he gave a small, tired smile. Well, he said, you should have started with that. Viola blinked. You are not angry? I'm a farmer, he said. Fixing things is what we do, even big problems, even alien ones. Viola stared at him, stunned. The barn was silent again, but now it felt warm, full of something bright. Hope. Viola watched Jareth work on the space bike again the next morning. The first light of dawn slid through the barn windows, turning the dust in the air into soft gold. Jareth moved with quiet focus, tightening a loose plate, adjusting a crystal line, and humming a simple tune as he worked. It was an old farm song, light, steady, warm. Viola had never heard anything like it. What is that sound? She finally asked. Jareth shrugged. Just something my mom used to hum. Helps me think. Viola listened. The tune felt comforting. It carried a kind of energy she could feel even from across the room, soft but strong. Human energy, the kind her people needed but had forgotten how to understand. You create power even when you're not trying, she said quietly. Jareth laughed. Well, I don't know about power, but music helps when things get complicated. She studied him with growing curiosity. Humans look simple, but Jareth was not simple at all. His energy changed with every emotion, every memory, every breath. It was unpredictable, but beautiful. Viola, he said, breaking her thoughts, show me where the main focus line is in this machine. She walked over and pointed to a small crystal coil hidden under the metal plates. This part controls the heart of bike. It must be aligned with the rider's energy. All right, he said, squatting down. Let's try something. He touched the coil gently, and Viola watched as the crystal reacted. It glowed faintly, flickering like a candle in the wind. Whenever Jareth's mood shifted, the glow shifted too. How does it know? He asked. It reads life force, she said. Yours is very loud. Loud? He asked with a laugh. Yes, she said, tilting her head, like a storm that is trying to be gentle. Jareth scratched his beard. I'll take that as a compliment. As he worked, Viola found herself noticing small things she had never seen in humans before. The steady patience of his hands, the way he talked to the machine as if it were a friend, the way he set tools down softly so nothing would be harmed. Everything he did had intention, care. This, she realized, was a human touch. Her people, the Valari, had lost that long ago. They built machines of perfection, but no emotion. They created power, but not meaning. They were efficient, but hollow. Jareth was messy and imperfect, and exactly what her world needed. As the hours passed, the bike grew brighter. The crystal steadied, the energy lines glowed clean, and the engine heart pulsed stronger. But it was still unstable. It's close, Jareth said, but something's wrong. It keeps fighting back. That is because it is designed for my species. Viola explained. It responds to emotions we do not use anymore. We can control fear, focus, hunger, but hope and kindness no longer guide us. Well, Jareth said, tapping the frame lightly, maybe that's the problem. Viola frowned. I do not understand. Jareth stood up and wiped his hands. Machines learn from whoever builds them, right? Yes. And your people don't use hope anymore. Yes. Then maybe, he said, leaning forward, your tech is starving for it. Viola paused. The idea struck her harder than she expected. Her people had lived so long in survival mode that they never considered the possibility that their creations needed more than cold logic. How will we give hope to a machine? She asked. Jareth shrugged. Same way you give hope to anyone. You show it something good, something that matters. She tilted her head slightly. Humans think very strangely. And yet, he said, gesturing to the glowing bike, it seems to work. He walked to the other side of the bike and motioned for her to sit. Give me your hand. Viola blinked. Why? Just trust me. She hesitated before slowly placing her hand in his. His palm was warm, steady. The moment their hands touched, the bike lights responded. The engine heart pulsed harder, not violently, but eagerly, as of awakening. Viola's eyes widened. It is reacting to both of us. Good, Jareth said softly. Let's try something else. He closed his eyes. Viola felt a strange warmth flowing through his hand, a memory, a feeling. She could not see it clearly, but she sensed the shape of it, a moment from his childhood, his father lifting him onto a tractor seat, teaching him how to steer. The smell of soil, a laugh full of pride, family, strength, love. The bike glowed so bright the whole barn lit up. Viola gasped. Jareth, what are you doing? Sharing something real, he whispered. The machine didn't overload. It didn't break. It thrived. The crystals shimmered, the engine hummed, and for the first time the bike sounded alive. Viola felt her chest tighten. My people, they have forgotten this. All of it. Jareth squeezed her hand gently. Then we'll help them remember. She looked at him, her expression soft and uncertain. Why? My people have done nothing for humans. Doesn't matter, Jareth said. Helping someone isn't a trade. It's a choice. Viola lowered her gaze, overwhelmed. No one from her world had spoken with such honesty in centuries. The bike gave a final, strong pulse. Stable, powerful, ready. Viola turned to him. Jareth, you did it. No, he corrected. We did. And for the first time since she left her dying world, Viola felt something she had not known in a very long time. Hope. The night was quiet when Lyra stood in front of her ship again. The repaired space bike hummed softly under her touch, as if it finally trusted her. She looked at the farmhouse behind her. The lights were still on. Daniel was probably awake, thinking about everything she had told him. She felt a strange weight in her chest, something she had not felt in years. She was a vampire warrior from a distant star, trained to finish her mission no matter what. But now she felt unsure. Daniel stepped outside and walked toward her. His boots made soft sounds in the dirt. He looked tired but calm. He had spent the whole evening helping her refill the fuel cells and clean out the broken circuits. He had done it all with steady hands and simple kindness. And he had not asked for anything in return. Lyra turned toward him. Her red eyes glowed faintly in the dark. I must leave soon, she said. Her voice was soft but heavy. If I fail this mission, my people will suffer. Daniel nodded. And if you go alone, you might not return. Lyra looked away. She did not want him to see the fear behind her eyes. She had fought in dark planets, crossed empty star fields, and stood against enemies stronger than her. But this mission was different. She was supposed to meet a hidden enemy leader who had captured her sister. She had no map, no support, and almost no time left. Humans are strange, she said quietly. You barely know me, yet you helped me. You gave me food. You trusted me. Daniel gave a small smile. You needed help. That was enough. Lyra studied him again. He was only a farmer, someone who lived far from cities and wars. He had no armor, no weapons, no advanced training. Yet he stood there without fear, as if helping her was the simplest thing in the world. She felt something inside her shift. Maybe her people were wrong about humans. Maybe they were not weak. You still have a chance, Daniel said. Show me where you need to go. Maybe I can help more. She looked at him in surprise. You would come with me? Even if there's danger? He shrugged. Danger is part of life, but leaving someone alone when they need help, that feels wrong. Lyra felt a warm pulse in her chest. She had lived a long time, much longer than humans usually lived, and she had met many different species. But she had never met anyone like him. She held out a small holomap. Daniel stepped closer to see it. The mission point was deep in the mountains, near a cave system that no human had charted. That place is rough, Daniel said, but I know paths that lead close to it. Lyra blinked. You know it? I grew up exploring those hills. I can guide you, and maybe your mission will be easier if you're not walking into darkness alone. For a moment, Lyra could not speak. No soldier from her world would have done this. No ally had ever stood with her without being ordered. But Daniel offered help simply because she needed it. She felt the weight of her loneliness ease. They prepared quickly. Daniel packed tools, rope, and a small flashlight. Lyra checked her energy blade and her communicator. When they walked into the night, the stars above seemed brighter. They moved quietly, step by step, through the path Daniel knew. The wind blew softly through the trees. The night felt alive around them. When they reached the base of the mountain range, Lyra suddenly stopped. She could feel something in the air, a faint vibration, a presence she had been searching for. It is here, she whispered. The enemy base. Daniel looked around but saw nothing. How do we find the entrance? Follow me, she said. She moved with fast, silent steps. Daniel followed behind, watching her movements. She was strong and graceful, like a shadow that could fight. He admired her, not with fear, but with respect. She led him to a hidden rock wall. With a quiet hum, the wall opened when she placed her hand on a small scanner. Inside were dim lights and cold metal floors. Lyra walked in with firm steps. Daniel kept close. They reached a chamber where a sealed pod stood. Inside it was a woman with pale skin like Lyra's, sleeping. My sister, Lyra breathed. Daniel stepped forward. We can open it. Show me the lock. Together they removed wires, bypassed power cells, and lifted the metal hatch. Slowly the pod opened. Lyra's sister took a weak breath and opened her eyes. When she saw Lyra, tears formed. You came, she whispered. Lyra held her tight. I did not come alone. Her sister noticed Daniel and gave a small, tired smile. A human helped you? Lyra nodded. Yes, and he reminds me why humans are strong. Daniel felt a little shy, but proud. He had only done what felt right. But to them, it meant everything. They left the base together, moving into the fresh night air. Lyra looked at Daniel with deep gratitude. Your kindness changed this mission. You saved my sister. Humans always find a way, even in impossible moments. Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. Sometimes helping someone is all it takes. Lyra stepped closer. If our worlds ever meet again, I hope they meet with your spirit. And as the first light of dawn touched the sky, the vampire sisters prepared their ship. Daniel watched them rise into the air. Lyra looked down at him one last time. She did not speak, but her eyes said what words could not. A simple human farmer had made a difference in a universe full of danger, and that was the true HFY moment.